talking today about healing emotional wounds and moving forwards. So it's often the case that when we've been hurt emotionally, we can get quite stuck in those emotions and find it difficult to move on. So I'm just going to talk briefly through a number of steps which can help somebody in that situation to move forward with their life. Firstly, it's important to acknowledge the pain. We need to be able to name the emotion and allow ourselves to feel it in order to move on. So something very powerful happens when we name an emotion. It somehow enables us to connect with it in a different way. And if we can allow the feeling to fully express itself in our body, that energy of the emotion can move through. Whereas if we constantly stop ourselves from feeling, that's when the energy gets stuck and it makes it impossible to move on from it. So it might sound counterproductive, but you actually need to allow yourself to feel into that emotion in order to release it. It's really important not to judge yourself. So if you're feeling an emotion that you feel is wrong, for example, say if you're angry, but you feel like you shouldn't be angry, that is a judgment. So an emotion is an emotion, it's energy. You need to allow it. Whether you think it's right or wrong, you need to let go of the judgment of yourself in order to let it flow through freely and release it and move on. Emotions are energy, they need expression and they need release. Secondly, it can be helpful to understand the root cause. So somebody once said to me that even if you are hurt a little bit by somebody, if somebody does something which seems quite small, if you've been hurt in a big way, in that same way in the past, it's going to be very, very painful. So she gave the analogy of if an elephant has stood on your foot and then somebody comes the next day and just taps your foot very lightly, that is going to be extremely painful. Even though it wasn't them that caused the original pain, the little tap on your foot is going to bring up all the original pain and remind you of what has happened to you. So it's the same with emotions. Somebody does something which hurts you only a little bit. If you've been hurt badly in the past in that same way, this can be extremely painful. So it's important to understand the root cause in order to make peace with it. There are a number of ways to release stored emotions. So one easy way is to journal, to write down how you're feeling, write down everything, and just that is a way to release both your thoughts and your emotions if you can allow yourself to feel as you are writing. It can also be helpful to give the emotion an image or the situation that's connected to that emotion an image. So maybe draw a picture or just imagine the image appearing either within your body or within your mind. And connecting with that image, again, gives us a deeper understanding of the emotion and gives us a better chance of allowing it to move through us and to be released. Can be also helpful to write a letter. Maybe if it's somebody that you are feeling wounded by, maybe write them a letter, write everything down, and then you can just burn the letter, or you might choose to read it out to them if that feels like the right thing to do. But often just by writing it down, that is enough. You don't actually have to tell the person, especially if you don't think that person is going to receive what you have to say. It can just be very therapeutic just to write it down without being interrupted, or without being told you're wrong, or having an explanation given to you which doesn't feel right. Once we've explored the emotion and felt into it and released it, we need to see what we can learn from that experience, from that emotion that we felt, and what can we do to stop it from happening again. I mean, of course, you could be completely innocent and have had something done to you which was completely not your fault, but ask yourself, what part did I play in this? Did I allow this to happen? Did I allow this person to treat me in this way? And see if you can tweak your behavior somewhat to stop this from happening again. If you're somebody that gets treated like a doormat, set some boundaries. If you're somebody that can't say no, learn to say no. If you're naive, you may need to accept that, but build up part of your personality which is resilient, which watches out for you, but doesn't let people take advantage. Think about what you can do differently going forwards to protect yourself and stop this from happening again. And some other actions that you can take are practice forgiveness. So if you're holding on to something that somebody did to you, that is affecting you. That's going to be painful. That's going to cause you upset, possibly even physical illness. So if you can practice forgiveness, if you can let that situation go, it's going to bring relief to you. There is no point holding on to something, especially if you know that person is not remorseful, probably even maybe doesn't care. Don't let it affect you. And when you forgive, that releases the burden that you're carrying and it releases the emotion associated with it and allows you to move forward. Sometimes it can be helpful to hear the other person's side of the story. If you can set up a dialogue with that person, it may be helpful, but that isn't always the case, which is why I suggested writing a letter, which you don't actually send. Forgiveness also applies to yourself, so you may need to forgive yourself for what happened maybe for your part that you played, for maybe allowing yourself to be mistreated. It's really important to forgive ourselves and to allow ourselves to have made a mistake so that we can move on, build resilience, and do better next time. And when you are ready, move on. Don't hold on to this, but allow yourself to move on from the experience. Don't hold on to the pain of unforgiveness or of being a victim. Don't allow yourself to fall into that trap, but reclaim your power and don't allow it to happen again. If this resonates with you, I'd be interested to hear your comments, and please remember to like and subscribe.